Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be providing a long-term market update for Filecoin, which has now had a huge rally breaking back above the 20 and the 21 weekly moving averages. And this marks a very significant move because we saw with this level at the 20 and 21 weekly moving averages, this was a very strong level of resistance ever since losing it all the way back here in September of 2021. We flipped them into resistance, and ever since then it has been a very consistent move lower, with the lower highs forming off of these moving average. But again, that has changed over the last several weeks as we have seen a breakout back above those moving averages. They're now starting to slope back upwards. All signs that the momentum has started to reverse here and that we're no longer within this very bearish trend, very bearish market. And instead, we're just having a new trend starting to develop. We've got a higher high here on this weekly chart, with the last few weeks bringing us up to around $9.50, the highest level seen since back here in August of 2022. And we do also have a higher low right here at the beginning of February when we had a few weeks correcting back down to print this level right around $4.60 as support, which is well above and comfortably above the lows from back here in December. So we're starting to see that uptrend begin. We're seeing a lot of reversal signs here on this weekly chart, and all of this is looking fairly positive. That being said, we are still somewhat at resistance coming back here to the July and August highs. You can see if I were to extend this level over, that's basically where the wick of this previous weekly candle came up to. So that is resistance until proven otherwise. And I would expect some consolidation at the very least into the next several weeks or even the next few months, just considering that since we have rallied off these lows, we're up around 300%. So that's a fairly extended rally. And I do think that we do have to cool off a little bit before having an eventual second leg up higher. In general, the longer the rallies take and the slower they move up, the more sustainable they are. So really the most bullish scenario would just be consolidating, holding this region as support, and that all happening while potentially the moving averages start to come back up here, acting as support and working in Filecoin's favor. So that's what I want to see here unfold in the next few months. What would be the most bearish sign is just if that we lose these 20 and 21 weekly moving averages, because in that case, this would look like a fake out, which is basically the same pattern that we had right here in August of 2021, where we had just a few weeks coming up above this, but ultimately we had the closes right back under it. It flipped into resistance, and that was the bearish sign. So we don't want to see that happen. We want to remain above the 20 and 21 weekly moving averages. And as long as that does happen, I am bullish here on this weekly chart. I think we have the momentum and the trend working to the upside, and just look for any sort of breakout coming back above the highs from, again, July and August, right around $9.90. If that can happen, then we can start to target some of these levels from back here in the beginning of 2022, all the way up around $17. And those are just sort of the main targets that we can look to if we do have, say, a continuation or a second leg up higher into the next several months. So with the FIL Bitcoin ratio, this one is actually a little bit more bearish because it is still under resistance. And there's really two main levels of resistance that I am looking at. The first one being this zone right around 38,000 Satoshis, which was the support that held all the way back here in 2019, which formed a big longer term bottom where we had multiple attempts to break down, but ultimately that held as support. And then from there, Filecoin was able to reverse on the Bitcoin ratio and start outperforming Bitcoin. And then we also have this level right around 42,000 Satoshis, which was sort of this last bounce before that big drop lower in the May 2022 timeframe. And that was also the resistance and the rejection from this leg up right here in July. So those two levels do combine to make a pretty strong region of resistance, again, between 42 and 38,000 Satoshis. And until that level can be reclaimed, I still have to go with the dominant downtrend that began back here in March of 2021, because we haven't made a higher high. We haven't made any higher lows. In fact, you can see we've made lower lows, with the most recent drop down here in December forming an all-time low on the FIL Bitcoin ratio. And all this means is that Filecoin has just been underperforming Bitcoin. So while the USD pair could be moving up, it would just be moving up at, say, a rate not as impressive as Bitcoin. Obviously, it's been up 300% in the last several months, but when we're looking at valuations, say, from months and months ago, it has that underperformance. And you can see that with the FIL Bitcoin ratio, again, at these valuations, pretty much lower than we had all throughout 2021 and towards the beginning of 2022. So moving forward, what I want to see on the FIL Bitcoin ratio is a reclaim of these levels of resistance. So for example, into the next few months, if we have a move coming back above, reclaiming and flipping this into support, then at this point, I would be very bullish on Filecoin with its performance against Bitcoin. I would be looking for that longer term outperformance, very similar to how we had that throughout 2019 and 2020 when we had the bull run really starting to ramp up here. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out my Twitter page. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.